I'm very embarrassed. As a friend comes to me, he just tells me, you have to stop that. Please, you have to stop. That isn't human. You can't do this. And I'm like, okay, I just understood. Maybe I should explain you why. Basically, it was very funny. I was just standing in the kitchen of our work, and I was seeing a random scientific paper where they were written a number down below of a center where low vision people can come to, and I was like just seeing this number, and I'm like, oh, interesting. It's Indonesia, Morocco, Turkey, and Greece. Yeah, that's the calling codes. I was just like seeing these random numbers, and I was just like in this moment discovering a random system to remember numbers just in a blink of an eye. And I was just, I just left the room in the second, and we're walking, and I couldn't get off the numbers. 26, 212, 19, 30. Was just so random that I weren't able again to lose them in my mind. Even until I came at home, I was just thinking about these numbers, and I just made kind of like a little bit fun out of that whole thing. I just were seeing a random number, and I'm like, oh, I can remember this. I can remember this. I can remember this. And I was like so cruelly able to learn the numbers just in a snap of the fingers. It was so fast and so insane. And I just had found kind of like a system what worked really, really well for me to learn the numbers. And I came just across the fact that sometimes this wasn't a good idea to show at work, because sometimes I came across people and I just had seen their numbers, their telephone numbers before. We're just taking a look at the calendar, and I had seen their telephone numbers, and without even asking them, I just added them into our database because they were new customers. I had to, so I just added the telephone number down below in the input area in this field, and I just typed them in without even asking, and they were like, how you know my how you know my telephone number? And I'm like, I just remembered it. I had seen it on the calendar. And he's like, yeah boy, yeah, you had seen it. And I had made this kind of like bunch of times, and kind of like around as the attempts to do this kind of like hit it 2 digits. My colleague came to me and just told me, you look like a weirdo. You can't do this. That's insane. First, it is not possible. Second, you can't show this to customers. Third, you look so weird. And now and fourth, we just have chicken nuggets in the fridge if you want some. And I was like, oh, thanks, boy. And I came to the conclusion after all these things that kind of like I was always, since I was a little boy, I was always so convinced of the fact that I'm not capable of remembering even the smallest numbers. 222. I was blinking with an eye and we're like, what did you say? Because we're completely lost. Kind of like the people who were born after the 2000. I'm sorry if you're one of them, but you know what I mean if you're one of them. Basically, and you especially watch this video because then you're into improving yourself, what means like however. Basically, the system I personally found for myself was just that I were into many WhatsApp groups globally, and I were always looking on their telephone numbers of the people who are writing with, and I'm like, oh, 33, oh great, France, okay, 62, oh great, Indonesia, so awesome, 52, Colombia, oh great, 34, Spain, oh cool, so great, 55, oh my god, Brazil, ooh, 91, India, oh great, ooh, namaste, aapse hai. It was so great just to see the numbers and where, like, yeah. And the first time I was just realizing very fast that I have now this kind of like ability that I never had really understood before. And kind of like we're all a little bit surrounded by numbers which have a meaning. For example, I don't know how it is in your country, but when I go in my country to a supermarket, they have those so kind of like things where I just need to pack up the vegetables, the things that I want to have, the fruits and stuff, and I take them in a bag and put them on the weight, and then I type on the number so the it knows which fruits I know I want to have, and then there comes kind of like a small price tag, and I can pin it on. So basically, the numbers that are related to the fruits and vegetables and stuff are very interesting, because if you always go to the same supermarket and you have always kind of like 49 is the onions, and I don't know, 19 is the tomatoes, and what else you like, the apples is 32 or stuff. Or if you, for example me, I'm at work and we have their kind of like numbers for the employees. It means like I am the 106, the other is the 200 and whatever, and we all have numbers. So basically you're kind of like surrounded of numbers which have a relation to something. It means you have this ability to, and if you're kind of like a little bit, if you're like a little bit into calling codes and you know some of them, you kind of like came across the mind, oh boy, but what you do when you have +7 XYZ. 7-1 is Kazakhstan, 7-1 is 7-9 is Russia, but the thing is here, there's nothing in between. What you do with 7-9? It's 7-8 or 7-7 or whatever. And oh no, it's 7-7 is Kazakhstan. Great. However, you maybe ask this, and you will find yourself in many things where you have kind of like gaps and where you don't have kind of like real things you can relate this to. So in these cases, you have to find a way to find a way to get them, or you just remember them. Like, I don't know, if there was, for example, if Turkey wasn't a country, and I was remembering the number from the beginning, like Indonesia, Morocco, 90, and Greece would be working for me as well, just for the moment. If I want to remember it longer, then this might be a problem in the end, but if I want to have it short term, then no big deal is possible, totally possible, no big deal. And finally, that's how I remember numbers quite fast, and you will find those patterns. I'm really convinced you will find them. And if you don't have patterns, make them for yourself on a way. Kind of, I don't know, learn calling codes like I had. That's not that hard. And if you kind of like into getting out for people and speak with them on WhatsApp, for example, to get kind of like connections on the world, then this is kind of like an interesting skill and kind of like something interesting to know. So that's all I have to say about calling codes and remembering numbers in a blink of an eye. And actually I can kind of like really it's crazy if you just train this for a long time enough. Even when you learn this kind of like and you try to use this system for the first time, it feels like a little bit strange, and you have to put some effort in it for the first times. But after you have done this several times, this will work perfectly fine. And it was so much fun to got this ability and to learn how to do this. And it's just a crazy thing, really crazy. Basically, I hope this video might have helped you, and stay connected with me, become a learner like we all do and like we all are. And yeah, if this had helped you, then I would really appreciate if you leave a sub or something, or a like, or also a comment. Would be also very awesome to know if you have something particular where you have numbers and how you could remember them. I don't know what you think, what numbers are you surrounded by, but maybe you have numbers where you can find kind of like very fast, and you could also have the ability to use them for level up your mind and your brain in this case. Have a great time.